Lena Crawford moved through the dining room the way someone moves through a narrow hallway in the dark, careful, quiet, aware of every edge. At the Blue Harbor Grill, the lights were always dim enough to soften faces but bright enough to expose mistakes. Silverware clinked softly. A low hum of conversation floated over the tables, stitched together by jazz that never quite finished a song. Lena adjusted her apron as she walked, smoothing a crease that no one else would notice. She did that a lot. Fix things before they could be seen as broken. She had learned early that attention was a double-edged thing. Too little and you were invisible. Too much and people felt entitled to you. "Table 6 wants more bread," the host whispered as she passed. Lena nodded. On it? She didn't sigh. Didn't roll her eyes. She'd trained those reactions out of herself years ago. Brent didn't care how tired she was. The power company didn't care if her feet ached. Precision kept the peace. Precision kept the job. The restaurant sat just off Interstate 95, close enough to catch business travelers who wanted seafood without noise. Most nights blurred together. Men in pressed shirts. Couples celebrating things they wouldn't remember next year. People who spoke loudly about money while pretending not to see who refilled their glasses. Lena saw everything anyway. She noticed the woman at table 3 tapping her fork too hard against the plate. The man at table 8 checking his watch every 2 minutes. The smell of butter and lemon clinging to the air, mixing with the faint bite of sanitizer from the bar. And then she noticed him. He hadn't done anything yet. That was what made it strange. He stood just inside the entrance, hands at his sides, scanning the room as if he were counting exits. Mid-50s, maybe older. Gray hair cut short, no attempt to hide it. A navy suit that fit perfectly without looking new. No phone in his hand. No one hovering behind him. People like that usually announced themselves in quieter ways. He didn't? The hostess glanced toward Lena, eyebrows raised in a question. Lena hesitated for half a second, then nodded. "I've got him." As she approached, she felt it, that subtle tightening in her chest she'd learned to trust. Not fear. Awareness. "Good evening," she said. "Welcome to Blue Harbor." He looked up, and his eyes settled on her with a steadiness that made her straighten without meaning to. "Thank you," he said. His voice was calm. "Just water for now." She poured, set the glass down. The ice clinked once, sharp in the quiet. "Can I start you with?" "The grilled salmon," he said. "No glaze. Extra lemon. Seasonal vegetables." He closed the menu before she could offer suggestions. "Of course," she replied. As she turned, he added, "And please don't rush." It wasn't a demand. It was a request. That was what caught her off guard. "I won't," she said. She walked away, but she felt his presence like a weight at her back. Over the next hour, she found herself checking on table 12 more often than necessary. Not hovering. Just noticing. He ate slowly. He didn't check his phone. When she refilled his water, he looked at her, nodded, and said thank you like it mattered. At one point, the cook dropped a pan in the kitchen. The crash echoed. Most diners flinched. He didn't. When the plate was empty, he folded his napkin neatly and placed it beside the dish. "Just the check," he said. She placed the leather folder on the table and walked away. She didn't look back. That was another rule. You don't watch people decide what you're worth. When she returned to clear the table, the folder was closed. The plate clean. And a single dollar bill peeked out from the edge. $1. Her throat tightened. Not in surprise. In recognition. She reached for the folder, already bracing herself to tuck the bill away and move on. But her fingers brushed something else. Thin. Folded. She slid the dollar aside. There was a note under the plate. Lena froze. The dining room felt suddenly too quiet, the jazz too slow. She unfolded the paper, her heart tapping a careful rhythm against her ribs. "I needed to see if you would look past the obvious," it read. "If you're reading this, please come outside after your shift. D." Her breath caught. She looked up. Table 12 was empty. For the rest of the night, the note burned in her pocket. Every laugh sounded louder. Every clink sharper. When her shift finally ended and the lights dimmed, Lena stood by the door, staring at the cold glass. If you've ever been in her place, standing between curiosity and caution, you already know that moment. And if you're listening to this story right now, it's probably because moments like that pull you in. If they do, you might want to stay with this channel a little longer. Lena pushed the door open and stepped into the night. In the parking lot, a black sedan idled with its lights on, and the driver's door opened. The cold hit Lena first. Not the sharp, dramatic kind. The quiet kind that slid under her jacket and settled there, patient and persistent. The parking lot lights hummed overhead, casting pale circles on the asphalt. Most of the cars were gone now. Just a few stragglers, servers finishing late, a dishwasher waiting for a ride. And the black sedan. It sat near the curb, engine running, headlights dimmed but not off. Clean. Too clean for a place like this. The driver's door opened. The man from table 12 stepped out slowly, like he didn't want to startle her. He closed the door behind him but didn't lock it. That detail stuck with her more than anything else. "Miss Crawford," he said. Her body went still. "Yes." Her hand tightened around her keys, metal biting into her palm. He stopped a few feet away, careful to keep distance. Up close, she could see the fine lines around his eyes. Not from smiling. From thinking. "I hope I didn't frighten you," he said. "You surprised me," she replied. "That's different." A corner of his mouth lifted. "Fair." Silence stretched between them. Somewhere on the highway, a truck roared past, the sound briefly swallowing the night. "My name is Daniel Holt," he said. "Thank you for coming out." "I haven't agreed to anything," Lena said. "I know." He gestured toward the car. "May I explain?" "You don't have to get in." She studied him. The way his shoulders stayed relaxed. The way his hands remained visible. He wasn't performing friendliness. He was managing risk. Hers and his. "Say it here," she said. He nodded. "I left that tip on purpose." She let out a short breath. "I figured." "Most people wouldn't read the note," he continued. "They'd see the dollar, feel insulted, and move on." Her eyes hardened. "You say that like it's a flaw." "No," he said quickly. "Like it's understandable." She waited. "For a long time," Daniel said, "I've wanted to know what people see first. The money, the insult, or the space around it." Lena crossed her arms. "So I was an experiment." "Yes," he said. "And no." She laughed once, humorless. "That's not better." "I know," he said quietly. Another pause. He seemed to weigh his words as if each one carried a cost. "I own companies in this industry," he said. "Restaurants, hotels, catering groups. I've spent decades approving budgets that look clean on paper and ugly in practice." The words settled slowly. "And tonight?" Lena asked. "Tonight," he said, "I wanted to see the human side of the equation again." Her jaw tightened. "You could have just talked to me." "I needed honesty," he replied. "Not politeness." That stung more than she expected. "So what?" she said. "You poke at people until something real falls out?" "Yes," he said. "And sometimes I don't like what I find." She shook her head. "You don't get to test people like that." "I know," he said again. "That's why I'm here apologizing instead of driving away." He reached into his coat pocket slowly and pulled out a card, holding it between two fingers. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said. "I'm asking for a few minutes in the car. It's warmer. And there are things I shouldn't say in a parking lot." Every instinct told her to leave. Every instinct told her something else too. Something older. The same feeling she'd had as a kid when adults whispered in the kitchen and stopped when she entered. "What things?" she asked. "Things that involve you," Daniel said. "And your family." Her stomach dropped. You don't know anything about my family, she said. I know your mother's name, he replied. The night seemed to tilt. How? Lena asked. Please, he said softly. Just sit. If you want out at any point, you leave. No argument. She hesitated, then opened the passenger door and slid in, keeping her body angled toward the exit. The car smelled faintly of leather and mint. Cling. Controlled. Daniel got in, started driving slowly around the empty lot, then stopped again, facing the dark edge of the property. I'm going to say something, he said, and you're not going to like it. Get in line, Lena replied. He took a breath. Your mother worked for one of my companies, he said. Years ago. Her heart thudded hard and uneven. No, she said immediately. She didn't. She did, he replied. As a line cook. Her mouth went dry. My mother died when I was 17, Lena said. She never mentioned you. Or your company. She tried to, Daniel said. Before she got sick. The word sick hung between them, heavy and unfinished. What are you talking about? Lena whispered. Daniel looked straight ahead. There's a hearing tomorrow in Hartford. A labor case. Your mother's name is in the file. Lena felt the world narrow, her breathing suddenly too loud in her ears. You left me $1, she said slowly, and now you're telling me my dead mother is part of your business mess. Yes, he said. Because she shouldn't have been. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was crowded with questions, anger, and something else Lena didn't want to name yet. Outside, the engine idled. And Daniel Holt hadn't even told her the worst part. Daniel didn't rush into explanations after that. He sat with his hands resting loosely on the steering wheel, eyes forward, letting the weight of his words settle. The engine hummed softly beneath them, a steady, indifferent sound. Somewhere far off, a train horn echoed and faded. Lena was the first to speak. You don't get to drop something like that and just sit there, she said. Her voice sounded steadier than she felt. If my mother worked for you, why am I only hearing this now? Daniel nodded as if he'd expected the question. Because I didn't know who you were until tonight. That's convenient. It's true, he said. I don't make a habit of memorizing the families of my employees. Or former employees. That's part of the problem. She stared at him. So what changed? You, he said simply. She scoffed. I poured you water. You did more than that, Daniel replied. You paid attention. You noticed when I didn't want to talk. You didn't perform. Her fingers tightened around the door handle. That still doesn't explain why you know my mother's name. He reached into the glove compartment and pulled out a thin folder. Not thick, not dramatic, just precise. He didn't open it yet. Your mother worked at a Harbor Line location in Bridgeport, he said. Back when the company was expanding too fast. Cutting corners. Pushing people past reasonable limits. Lena's chest tightened. My mother worked 2 jobs, she said. Sometimes 3. She came home smelling like grease and bleach. Her hands were always burned. Daniel nodded. She filed a complaint. The word landed like a dropped plate. With who? Lena asked. The Department of Labor, he said. Unpaid overtime. Missed breaks. Retaliation. Lena swallowed. She never told me that. She may not have wanted to worry you, Daniel said. Or she may not have thought it would go anywhere. Did it? Lena asked. Daniel didn't answer right away. He opened the folder and turned it toward her. Inside were photocopies. Old ones. Time-stamped. Faded at the edges. Lena recognized the handwriting immediately. Her breath caught. That's hers, she said. That's my mom's writing. Yes, Daniel said quietly. Lena stared at the page. Notes in the margins. Dates circled. Words underlined too hard, the pen digging into the paper. This wasn't a formal document. It was preparation. Someone trying to be brave. She collapsed at work, Lena said suddenly. The memory surged up, sharp and unwelcome. They said it was exhaustion. Dehydration. She was sent home in a cab. Daniel's jaw tightened. That's in the report. Lena laughed once, a sound that surprised even her. Of course it is. She flipped through the pages, her hands shaking now. Each sheet felt heavier than the last. So why now? She asked. Why bring this to me? Because tomorrow, Daniel said, there's a hearing in Hartford. A class action case against Harborline and several subsidiaries. Lena looked up. And your mother's complaint is one of the earliest, he said. It set a pattern. She leaned back in the seat, the leather cold against her neck. So you need a story. No, Daniel said. We already have thousands. Then you need a face. Yes, he admitted. Silence filled the car again. This time it pressed in from all sides. What exactly are you asking me to do? Lena asked. Nothing tonight, Daniel said. Tonight I'm telling you the truth. Tomorrow, I'll be testifying. Her eyes snapped to him. Against your own company? Against myself, he corrected. Lena searched his face for cracks. For calculation. For performance. What do you get out of this? She asked. He hesitated. Just for a moment. I get to stop pretending I didn't know, he said. She shook her head. That's not enough. I know, he said. She opened the door. Cold air rushed in. I need time, Lena said. This doesn't belong to you anymore. No, Daniel agreed. It belongs to you. She stepped out of the car, the folder still in her hands. As she closed the door, Daniel spoke again. There's something else, he said. She paused, heart pounding. Something about your mother, Daniel continued, that I haven't told you yet. Lena turned slowly, and wished she hadn't asked him to keep talking. Lena didn't sit back down. She stood there with the cold creeping through the soles of her shoes, the folder pressed against her chest like it might slip away if she loosened her grip. The parking lot felt bigger now. Emptier. As if the world had stepped back to watch. What? She said. Haven't you told me? Daniel rested his forearms on the steering wheel. He didn't look at her right away. Your mother wasn't the only one, he said. She wasn't even the first. Lena's stomach tightened. That's not new information. No, he agreed. But what is that she didn't just file a complaint. She started organizing. The word hung there heavier than the cold. Organizing what? Lena asked. Other workers, Daniel said. Line cooks, dishwashers, servers. She kept lists, names, schedules. She was building a case. Lena's throat went dry. She pictured her mother at the kitchen table again, papers spread out, the phone cord stretched across the room. Back then, Lena had thought it was Bill's. They fired her for that? Lena asked. They said it was performance, Daniel replied. Officially. Lena laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. Of course they did. Daniel nodded. What I haven't told you yet is that when she collapsed at work, it wasn't the first time. Lena's breath caught. What do you mean? She'd gone to urgent care twice in the months before, he said. Chest pain, dizziness, exhaustion. She was advised to reduce her hours. Lena felt something inside her shift, like a piece sliding into place in a way that made everything worse. She couldn't afford that, Lena said. No, Daniel agreed. Silence stretched. The engine ticked softly as it cooled. So why are you telling me this now? Lena asked again more quietly. Because I approved the budget that eliminated the overtime pay she was owed, Daniel said. And because I signed off on the settlement that made her complaint disappear. The words landed like a blow. Lena's vision blurred. Settlement? Yes, he said. Years ago. Before she died. You said she tried to fight, Lena said. You said. She did, Daniel said. And then the company offered to settle. Quietly. Lena's hands began to shake. How much? Daniel hesitated. That doesn't matter, he said. It matters to me, Lena snapped. 5 figures, he said. Enough to make the problem go away. Not enough to change a life. Lena felt her knees weaken. She never got it, Lena said. Daniel looked up sharply. What? She never got a settlement, Lena said. We were behind on rent. The lights were shut off twice that year. If she'd gotten money like that, I would know. Daniel's face drained of color. That's not possible, he said. The check was issued. To who? Lena demanded. He didn't answer. To who? She repeated. Daniel swallowed. To her attorney. The air between them went brittle. My mother didn't have an attorney, Lena said slowly. Daniel stared at her. No, he said. She did. She had to. She didn't, Lena said again. She filled out those forms herself. She couldn't afford a lawyer. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't heavy. It was sharp, like something about to break. I need to look into this, Daniel said finally. Lena laughed. This time it cracked. You think? She turned away from the car, walking a few steps toward the building, then stopped. So you left me $1, she said over her shoulder, because you wanted to feel something? Daniel didn't deny it. I left you $1, he said, because I wanted to know if I still deserved to sit at the table. She turned back, eyes burning. You don't, she said. Not yet. She walked away before he could respond, the folder clutched tight. Behind her, Daniel Holt sat alone in his car, staring at the space she'd occupied. And for the first time that night he looked afraid. Lena didn't sleep that night. She lay on her bed with the folder open beside her, papers spread like evidence at a trial no one had warned her about. The apartment was quiet in the way only old buildings got after midnight, pipes clicking, a radiator hissing like it had something to say but couldn't quite find the words. She read every page again. Her mother's handwriting pulled her back in time. Notes squeezed into margins. Questions written and crossed out. Dates underlined twice as if repeating them might make them harder to erase. This wasn't a woman casually complaining. This was someone trying to understand a system that had already decided she was expendable. Lena pressed her thumb against a dent in the paper where the pen had gone too deep. You were scared, she whispered. And you still did it. She closed the folder and stared at the ceiling. Daniel's voice replayed in her head. Come. Measured. Apologetic but not begging. That almost bothered her more. By morning, she had a headache and a decision she wasn't ready to name. At the restaurant, everything felt the same. Too same. The smell of lemon and butter. The low jazz. The hum of voices. But Lena moved differently now. Every smile felt borrowed. Every, how are you tonight, tasted false. You look tired, one of the servers said as they passed at the drink station. Didn't sleep, Lena replied. Join the club. At table 12, someone else sat laughing too loudly. Lena avoided looking at the empty booth by the window. She told herself it was just a table. Wooden cushions. Nothing more. Around noon, her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. A known number. She ignored it. 2 minutes later, it buzzed again. She waited until she reached the back hallway near the walk-in fridge, then answered. Miss Crawford? A woman's voice asked. Yes. This is Elaine Porter. I'm an attorney representing the plaintiffs in the Harbor Line labor case. Lena closed her eyes. I didn't give you my number, she said. Daniel Holt did, Elaine replied. He said you might hang up. He asked me to call anyway. Lena leaned against the wall, the cold tile seeping through her shirt. I'm at work, Lena said. I'll be brief, Elaine said. We found your mother's complaint in our files. It's significant. Significant how? Lena asked. It establishes early knowledge of wage violations, Elaine said. And retaliation. Lena swallowed. So what do you want from me? Elaine didn't rush the answer. We want to know if you'd be willing to speak, she said. Not today. Not publicly. Just to us. to confirm details. And if I say no? Lena asked. Then we proceed without you, Elaine said. We've done that before. Lena waited for the pressure. The guilt. It didn't come. I'll think about it, Lena said. That's all I'm asking, Elaine replied. I'll send you my contact information. The call ended. Lena stood there for a long moment, listening to the muffled sounds of the kitchen. Orders being called. A pan clanging. Someone laughing too loudly over nothing. Later that afternoon, her manager called her into the office. Everything okay? He asked, leaning back in his chair. Yes, Lena said. You seem distracted. I'm fine. He studied her for a beat too long. We've had some inquiries, he said casually. About staff. Lena's pulse quickened. What kind of inquiries? Just routine, he said. Corporate stuff. She nodded. Okay. As she left the office, she felt the first real ripple of fear. Not panic. Not yet. Just awareness. The kind that made you double-check your locks. That evening when she got home, there was an envelope taped to her door. No stamp. No return address. Her name was written neatly on the front. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A photocopy. An old check stub. Her breath caught as she read the name printed on the line marked payee. It wasn't her mother's. It was someone else's entirely. At the bottom, barely visible, was a reference number. A settlement code. Lena sat down hard on the floor. Daniel had said the money was issued. Someone had taken it. And whoever it was had just reminded her that this story wasn't finished. Not even close. Lena didn't call the police. She sat on the floor for a long time with the envelope in her lap, listening to the building breathe around her. Footsteps above. A toilet flushing somewhere down the hall. Ordinary sounds that felt strangely distant, like she was underwater. The check stub shook in her hands. It had her mother's case reference number. The same one Daniel had shown her in the folder. Same dates. Same amount. Different name. She read it again. And again. As if the letters might rearrange themselves into something easier to understand. They didn't. Whoever had left this wanted her to know two things. The money existed. And it never reached the person it was meant for. Lena folded the paper carefully and slid it back into the envelope. She locked her door. Then she locked it again, harder this time, like force might add security. Sleep came in pieces. She dreamed of her mother standing at the stove, stirring a pot that never boiled. Papers piled higher and higher on the table behind her until Lena couldn't see her face anymore. When morning came, Lena woke with a knot behind her eyes and a decision forming whether she liked it or not. She called Elaine Porter. I got something last night, Lena said when the attorney answered. Elaine didn't ask what. She just said, can you come in? They met in a modest office building in downtown New Haven. No marble lobby. No dramatic views. Just gray carpet, humming lights, and a reception desk cluttered with files. Elaine was younger than Lena had expected. Early 40s. Hair pulled back tight. Eyes that missed nothing. Lena placed the envelope on the desk and slid it forward. Elaine studied the check stub silently, then leaned back in her chair. That's not good, she said. That's not helpful, Lena replied. Elaine nodded. Fair. This means someone intercepted the settlement. Or redirected it. Who? Lena asked. Elaine's lips pressed together. That's the question. Daniel said the check went to an attorney, Lena said. My mother didn't have one. Elaine tapped the paper. Then someone pretended to be one. Lena felt anger flare, sharp and sudden. So someone got paid for my mother's silence. Yes, Elaine said. And they didn't even tell her. Silence fell between them. What happens now? Lena asked. Elaine folded her hands. Now things get complicated. I thought they already were. They were, Elaine said. Now they're dangerous. Lena stiffened. Dangerous how? Elaine didn't soften it. If someone committed fraud to bury this complaint, they had help. And if they're reminding you of it now, they're paying attention. A chill crept up Lena's spine. So what do you want me to do? She asked. Elaine met her gaze. I want you to testify. Lena laughed quietly. That didn't take long. This document changes the case, Elaine said. But only if it's tied to a person. To harm. And what happens to me? Lena asked. Elaine exhaled. Your employer will find out. Your hours may disappear. You may be labeled difficult. Lena thought of her manager's 2 casual questions. Corporate inquiries. Already happening, she said. Elaine nodded. Then there's something else. Lena braced herself. Daniel Holt has agreed to testify as well, Elaine said. Fully. Lena's stomach tightened. I don't trust him. You shouldn't, Elaine said calmly. But his testimony corroborates yours. And the documents. Lena stood. She needed air. Why now? She asked. Why is he suddenly doing the right thing? Elaine hesitated. Because this fraud wasn't approved at his level. Lena turned slowly. Meaning? Meaning someone went around him, Elaine said. And if that's true, he's exposed too. Lena laughed, bitter this time. So I'm leverage. Your truth, Elaine said. Leverage is just how the system reacts to it. Lena left the office with her head buzzing. Outside, the city moved on. People crossed streets. Cars honked. Someone argued loudly into a phone. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it until it stopped. Then it buzzed again. She answered. Miss Crawford, a man's voice said. Older. Smooth. Familiar in a way she couldn't place. You should stop digging. Her grip tightened on the phone. Who is this? Pause. A faint smile in the silence. Someone who knew your mother, the voice said. Better than you think. The call ended. Lena stood on the sidewalk, heart pounding, the city suddenly too loud. Because whoever had taken that money wasn't hiding anymore. They were watching her. The voice stayed with Lena long after the call ended. She replayed it as she walked, as she unlocked her car, as she sat behind the wheel without starting the engine. Older. Controlled. Not threatening in the obvious way. Worse than that. Confident. Someone who believed he was untouchable. She drove home the long way, checking her mirrors more often than usual. Every dark sedan felt suspicious. Every stoplight stretched too long. By the time she reached her apartment, her shoulders ached from holding them tight. Inside, she locked the door and leaned against it, breathing through her nose until her pulse slowed. She didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she called Daniel Holt. The phone rang twice. I was wondering when you'd call, he said. You knew, Lena replied. About the settlement check. There was a pause on the line. Not hesitation. Calculation. I suspected, Daniel said. I didn't have proof. Someone cashed it, Lena said. In my mother's name. Or close enough. I know, he said quietly. That's why I'm testifying. That's not enough, Lena snapped. Someone called me today. Told me to stop digging. Daniel's breath changed. Just slightly. Did they identify themselves? He asked. No, Lena said. But they knew my mother. Another pause. Longer this time. Then it's worse than I thought, Daniel said. Lena closed her eyes. You're not going to say that and stop there. I can't prove it yet, he replied. But there were internal investigators involved back then. Outside counsel. Consultants who specialized in containment. Containment of what? Lena asked. Of liability, Daniel said. And of people. That did it. Lena felt heat rise behind her eyes. You built an empire on this, she said. And now you're surprised it turned rotten. I'm not surprised, Daniel replied. I'm exposed. Good, Lena said. Sit with that. I am, he said. Every day. Silence stretched between them, thick and uneasy. "There's something else," Daniel said finally. "And I need you to hear it before it comes out another way." Lena's stomach tightened. "Say it." "The man who authorized the settlement diversion," Daniel said, "is still active in the industry." Lena sank onto the couch. "Active how?" "He sits on boards," Daniel replied. "Advises companies. Helps them manage risk." "And he knew my mother?" Lena said. "Yes." Her fingers dug into the cushion. "Name?" "I can't," Daniel said. "Not yet." "Why?" she demanded. "Because if I say it now," he replied, "he'll destroy evidence. And possibly the case." Lena laughed hollow. "And me?" Daniel didn't answer immediately. "I've increased your security," he said instead. She sat up. "What does that mean?" "It means there's someone watching your building," Daniel said. Discreetly. "You don't get to do that," Lena said. "I know," he replied. "But I did it anyway." She stood and paced the room, anger and fear tangling in her chest. "So now I'm supposed to trust you?" she asked. "No," Daniel said. "You're supposed to survive long enough to testify." The line went quiet. "Lena," he added, softer now, "your mother scared powerful people." Lena stopped pacing. "She was a line cook," Lena said. She barely spoke above a whisper. Daniel's voice dropped. "She kept records." Lena's breath caught. "Not just schedules," he continued. "Names, payment methods, off-the-books arrangements." She was smarter than anyone gave her credit for. Lena thought of the papers in the folder. The pressure marks. The underlines. "She hid them," Daniel said. "We never found everything." A chill slid down Lena's spine. "What are you saying?" she asked. "I'm saying," Daniel replied, "that the reason someone took that money, and the reason someone called you today, is because they think you might have what your mother left behind." Lena's mouth went dry. "I don't," she said. "You don't know that," Daniel replied. She looked around her small apartment. The couch. The coffee table. The old bookshelf she'd inherited after her mother died. Her gaze stopped on the hallway closet, the one she hadn't opened in years. Daniel's voice came through the phone again, steady but urgent. "Lena," he said, "if there's anything of your mother's you haven't gone through, now is the time." She swallowed hard. "Because," he added, "someone is clearly afraid of what you might find." Lena hung up and stood in the middle of the room, heart pounding. Then she walked slowly toward the closet and reached for the handle. The closet door resisted at first. Lena pulled harder than she meant to, and it opened with a dry scrape, the sound loud in the quiet apartment. A faint smell drifted out, old cardboard, dust, something metallic. Time bottled. She stood there for a moment, arms folded as if the past might jump out and accuse her. The closet wasn't packed. Just a few boxes stacked neatly, labeled in her mother's careful handwriting. Winter clothes. Old tax papers. Church programs. Nothing dramatic. At least not on the surface. Lena dragged the first box out and sat cross-legged on the floor. She opened it slowly. Scarves. Gloves. A knit hat with a loose thread she remembered teasing her mother about. She smiled despite herself, then set it aside. The second box held papers. Medical bills. Appointment cards. Letters from utilities threatening shutoffs. Ordinary proof of a life lived close to the edge. Her chest tightened, but she kept going. The third box was heavier. No label. Inside were notebooks. 3 of them. Thin, cheap spiral-bound ones, the kind you buy in bulk for kids. The covers were bent, corners softened by use. Lena picked up the first notebook and flipped it open. Names filled the pages. Columns. Dates. Hours. Dollar amounts written, crossed out, rewritten. Shorthand she didn't recognize at first, then slowly began to understand. This wasn't a diary. It was accounting. Her mother's handwriting grew tighter as the pages went on. Notes appeared in the margins. Paid late. Shorted again. Talk to R. Threatened. Lena's throat closed. She really did it, she whispered. She opened the second notebook. Same structure. Different names. Different weeks. Patterns emerging like bruises. The third notebook was different. Fewer names. More words. Sentences. Met with consultant today. Friendly. Asked too many questions. Said company wants to resolve concerns. Didn't explain how. Offered lawyer. Said no. Felt wrong. Lena's hands trembled. This was it. This was what Daniel had meant. She flipped toward the back. The last few pages were torn out. Her phone buzzed. She nearly dropped it. Daniel's name filled the screen. She answered without thinking. I found them. A breath on the other end. Controlled. Relieved. Afraid. How many? He asked. 3 notebooks, Lena said. Maybe more. Pages missing. That's enough, Daniel replied. More than enough. Enough for what? Lena asked. To explain why someone is calling you, he said. And why someone cashed that check. Lena swallowed. You said the man who authorized it was still active. Yes. And he knew my mother. He met her, Daniel said. Under false pretenses. Lena's jaw clenched. He pretended to help. He specialized in that, Daniel replied. Convincing workers not to escalate. Offering representation. Quiet solutions. Did my mother trust him? Lena asked. Daniel didn't answer immediately. I think, he said carefully, she listened to him. I don't think she trusted him. Lena closed the notebook and pressed it to her chest. So he stole the settlement. Or redirected it, Daniel said. Legally enough to pass a glance. Illegally enough to matter now. Lena stood and paced, stepping around the boxes like landmines. You said you didn't approve it, she said. Why should I believe you? Because if I had, Daniel replied, these notebooks would have disappeared years ago. Silence followed. Elaine needs to see them, Daniel said. As soon as possible. Lena hesitated. If I hand these over, I lose control. You gain protection, Daniel replied. That's not the same thing. No, he agreed. It's not. Lena thought of the voice on the phone. The casual certainty. The warning disguised as advice. Someone already knows I'm looking, she said. Yes, Daniel replied. Which means time matters. A knock sounded at her door. Sure. Precise. Lena froze. Did you send someone? She whispered. No, Daniel said instantly. The knock came again. Louder this time. Miss Crawford, a man's voice called through the door. Polite. Professional. We need to speak with you. Lena's heart hammered. Who is it? She asked, her voice barely steady. Just a few questions, the man replied. About your mother. Daniel's voice cut in low and urgent. Lena, do not open that door. The notebooks felt suddenly heavier in her hands. The knock came a third time. And whoever stood on the other side already knew her name. Lena didn't answer the door. She backed away from it slowly, every step measured, careful not to make a sound. The notebooks were clutched to her chest like something alive, fragile, dangerous. Her apartment suddenly felt too small, the walls too thin. Miss Crawford, the man called again, still calm. Still polite. I know you're home. Daniel was still on the line. Lena, he whispered, go to your bedroom. Lock the door. If he forces entry, call the police immediately. Is he allowed to be here? She whispered back. Not without a warrant, Daniel said. And he doesn't have one. Another pause. Then footsteps. Slow. Measured. The sound of someone shifting position closer to the door. We just want to talk, the man said. No trouble. No accusations. Lena slipped into her bedroom and shut the door quietly, turning the lock with a soft click that sounded far too loud in her ears. She sat on the edge of the bed, heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. How did he find me? she mouthed into the phone. Someone tipped him, Daniel said. Or he's been watching longer than we thought. The man outside sighed as if disappointed. Your mother was a brave woman, he called. She believed in fairness. In resolution. Lena's fingers curled into the notebook covers. Resolution. The same word written in the margins of her mother's notes. I don't want to do this the hard way, the man continued. But ignoring this won't make it go away. Lena stood, crossed the room, and pressed her ear to the door. Who are you? She called out. Pause. Then, my name is Marcus Hale. I represent parties who prefer discretion. Daniel inhaled sharply on the line. That's him, he murmured. What do you want? Lena asked louder now. To help you, Marcus said smoothly. The past can be confusing. Financial matters especially. People misinterpret things. Lena laughed once, sharp and humorless. Like missing settlement money? Another pause. Longer this time. You don't have the full picture, Marcus replied. Your mother didn't either. Lena's stomach twisted. Then explain it. Not through a door, Marcus said. Let's sit down. Like adults. Daniel cut in. Do not engage. I'm not opening the door, Lena said. Say what you came to say. A faint smile crept into Marcus's voice. Very well. I came to offer clarity. And an option. An option for what? Lena asked. For peace, he said. Closure. Something your mother wanted very badly. Lena closed her eyes. You mean silence, she said. Marcus chuckled softly. Words matter. Silence is simply the absence of unnecessary noise. Daniel's voice was tight. He's probing you. Don't answer. What happens if I don't choose your option? Lena asked anyway. Another pause. This one felt colder. Then certain misunderstandings may escalate, Marcus said. Questions get asked. Reputations get examined. Your mother's actions might be reinterpreted. Lena's eyes flew open. You'd smear her. I would clarify, Marcus replied. Publicly. Defensively. With documents. What documents? Lena demanded. Enough, Daniel said firmly into the phone. Lena, stop. Marcus continued unfazed. The notebooks you found, he said. For example, partial records can be misleading. Lena's blood ran cold. You don't know what I have. Marcus smiled again, she could hear it. I know what your mother kept. And what she didn't. Silence fell heavy and thick. Leave, Lena said, her voice shaking despite her effort. You're not welcome here. Another sigh. A step backward. For now, Marcus agreed. I'll give you time. But not much. Footsteps moved away from the door. Toward the hall. Toward the stairs. Lena waited until she heard the building's front door open. Close. The echo fade. Only then did she sink onto the floor, her legs giving out beneath her. Daniel exhaled. Are you okay? He knew, Lena whispered. He knew about the notebooks. Yes, Daniel said. Which means they're real. And dangerous. What do I do? She asked. You don't stay there, Daniel replied. Pack essentials. Nothing else. Take the notebooks. I'll arrange a safe place. Lena stared at the door, half expecting another knock. And Daniel? She asked quietly. Yes. If my mother was such a problem, Lena said, why didn't they stop her sooner? Daniel was silent for a long moment. Because, he finally said, she wasn't alone anymore. Lena frowned. What do you mean? But Daniel didn't answer. And somewhere below her apartment, a car engine started and idled, unhurried, as if whoever was inside had nowhere else to be. Lena left the apartment with a backpack that felt heavier than it should have. Not because of what was inside, but because of what it meant. The hallway smelled like old carpet and burned coffee. Every sound felt amplified. A door closing 2 floors down made her flinch. The elevator took too long, groaning as if annoyed to be dragged awake this late at night. Stairs, Daniel said through her earbuds. Don't risk being trapped. She turned, pushed through the stairwell door, and descended quickly, one hand gripping the rail, the other tight around the strap of her bag. Each floor passed like a held breath. Outside the air was sharp and cold. Her building's parking lot sat under a single flickering light. Shadows stretched too long between the cars. Do you see anyone? Daniel asked. Lena scanned the lot. A dark sedan idled near the far exit, headlights off. Her chest tightened. There's a car running. Make, model? Daniel asked. I don't know. Dark. Tinted windows. Don't go toward it, he said immediately. Walk to the street. Keep moving. Act normal. Normal felt impossible. Her boots crunched on gravel as she crossed the lot, heart hammering. She didn't look back even though every instinct screamed to. The sedan didn't move. Not yet. A rideshare pulled up at the curb. She slid into the back seat, hands shaking as she buckled in. Go, she said too quickly. The car pulled away. Only then did she breathe. Good, Daniel said. You did good. Where are we going? Lena asked. A friend's place, he replied. Temporary. Off the grid enough. That doesn't sound reassuring. It's safer than your apartment, he said. And safer than my office. She watched the city slide past. Closed diners. Laundromats glowing like aquariums. A couple arguing on a corner, oblivious to the fact that her entire understanding of her mother's life was unraveling. Daniel, she said quietly, you said my mom wasn't alone. Yes. Who was with her? He hesitated. That's a longer conversation, he said. One I'd rather have in person. Lena didn't like that answer, but she let it go. The ride ended in a quiet neighborhood, rows of townhouses tucked behind bare trees. Daniel stood waiting on the sidewalk, hands in his coat pockets, scanning the street before smiling faintly when he saw her. You look like hell, he said gently. Feel worse, she replied. Inside the house was modest. Lived in. Books stacked everywhere. A kettle already whistling. Sit, Daniel said. I'll make tea. Lena lowered herself onto the couch, set the backpack at her feet, and finally unzipped it. The notebooks were still there. Her mother's handwriting stared back at her, looping and precise, like she'd never doubted herself for a second. Daniel returned with 2 mugs. Chamomile, he said. I know it's cliché. She took it anyway. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Daniel said, Your mother came to me 3 years before she died. Lena looked up sharply. You knew her? Yes, he said. Professionally. At first. At first? Lena echoed. She was working as a night cleaner in a financial firm downtown, he said. Same building where I consulted occasionally. Lena frowned. She never told me that. She wouldn't have, Daniel said. She was embarrassed. Not of the work. Of why she took it. He leaned forward. She overheard something. A conversation that wasn't meant for her. Lena's grip tightened around her mug. About the missing settlement funds? She asked. Yes, Daniel said. And about who benefited. Lena swallowed. She tried to report it? She tried to understand it first, he corrected. Your mother was careful. She didn't accuse. She documented. The notebooks, Lena whispered. Daniel nodded. She came to me when she realized internal channels were compromised. Why you? Because I'd sued the firm years earlier, he said. Lost. But I learned how they buried things. Lena felt a cold clarity settle in. So Marcus Hale works for them. For someone above them, Daniel said. Marcus cleans messes. He doesn't create them. Lena stared at the notebooks. Did my mom know how dangerous this was? Yes, Daniel said softly. By the end she did. Then why didn't she stop? Daniel's eyes darkened. Because she found something she didn't expect. What? He hesitated again. Just a fraction too long. Proof, he said, that the money trail didn't end where everyone thought it did. Lena's pulse spiked. Where did it end? Daniel looked at her, expression unreadable. With someone who still has a lot to lose, he said. Before Lena could press further, a sharp knock hit the front door. What? Controlled. Familiar. Daniel froze. They looked at each other. That was fast, Lena whispered. Daniel stood slowly. Stay here. Another knock followed. Louder this time. And through the door, a voice Lena recognized immediately said, Daniel, we need to talk. Daniel didn't move toward the door right away. He raised a finger at Lena, a silent command to stay quiet, then stepped carefully to the hallway mirror and angled it just enough to see the porch without being seen. His jaw tightened. It's Marcus, he whispered. Alone. At least visibly. Lena's heart thudded so hard she worried Marcus could hear it through the walls. She slipped the backpack onto her shoulders again as if it might protect her. Don't open it, she mouthed. Daniel nodded once, but his eyes said something else. Calculation. Risk. Another knock. Firmer. Less patient. Daniel, Marcus called, voice smooth as polished wood. I know you're home. Let's not play games. Daniel exhaled through his nose. He wants to establish control, he murmured. If I refuse outright, he escalates. So what do you do? Lena whispered. I managed the conversation. Before she could protest, Daniel unlocked the door and opened it halfway, keeping the chain fastened. Marcus Hale stood on the porch with his hands visible, palms open. He wore a charcoal coat, tailored but unflashy. No tie. No visible weapon. His expression was almost friendly. Good evening, Marcus said. Sorry for the late hour. Daniel didn't return the politeness. You're trespassing. Only technically, Marcus replied. His eyes flicked past Daniel, scanning the dim interior. And only briefly. You followed her, Daniel said. Marcus smiled faintly. I anticipated where she'd go. Lena felt something twist in her stomach. Not fear this time. Anger. You threatened her, Daniel continued. I informed her, Marcus corrected. Threats imply hostility. This is problem solving. Daniel laughed once, sharp and humorless. You always talk like that? It saves time, Marcus said. May I come in? No. Marcus accepted the refusal without reaction. Fair enough. He leaned slightly closer to the door. I'm here because things are drifting in an unproductive direction. Daniel folded his arms. You mean out of your control? I mean toward consequences, Marcus said calmly. For everyone involved. Lena couldn't stay silent anymore. She stepped forward, close enough for Marcus to see her face through the narrow opening. You said my mother wanted closure, she said. What she wanted was the truth. Marcus studied her genuinely this time. Truth is rarely singular. My mother died without seeing justice, Lena said. You don't get to rewrite that. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. Not guilt. Not sympathy. Recognition. She died knowing she wasn't wrong, Marcus said. That matters more than you think. Lena's breath caught. How would you know? Marcus didn't answer immediately. He straightened, smoothing the front of his coat. Daniel, he said instead, you're a smart man. You know how this ends if you push. Daniel held his ground. You're assuming I'm afraid. I'm assuming you remember what happened to the last person who tried to go public, Marcus replied. The air in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Lena looked at Daniel. What is he talking about? Daniel didn't take his eyes off Marcus. A former accountant. 5 years ago. Alleged whistleblower. Alleged. Lena repeated. He recanted, Marcus said. Very publicly. And then moved overseas, Daniel added. With a new identity and a generous consulting contract. Marcus smiled. You see? Everyone landed on their feet. Except the people who lost their money, Lena snapped. Marcus finally looked directly at her. You think this is about restitution? Isn't it? She asked. No, he said softly. It's about exposure. Silence settled between them. You said you had an option, Lena said. What is it? Marcus seemed almost relieved. A private settlement. Not money. Protection. From you? She asked. From what happens when certain names surface, Marcus replied. Daniel shook his head. You can't guarantee that. I can, Marcus said. Because I know which names won't. Lena's mind raced. My mother found proof, she said slowly. But she didn't release it. Why? Marcus's gaze slid back to Daniel. You should tell her. Daniel closed his eyes briefly. Tell me what? Lena demanded. Daniel opened his eyes. Your mother discovered that part of the missing settlement funds were funneled into a charitable trust. Lena blinked. That doesn't sound criminal. It wasn't, Daniel said. At first. Marcus nodded. The trust did a lot of good. Schools, clinics, housing. Then what's the problem? Lena asked. The problem, Daniel said quietly, is who controlled it. Lena looked at Marcus again. Who? Marcus hesitated for the first time since arriving. A public figure, he said. Respected. Untouchable. Lena's stomach sank. Someone people trust. Yes, Marcus replied. Daniel added, someone who built their reputation on moral leadership. Lena felt the weight of the notebooks like a physical ache. My mom was going to expose them. She was going to ask questions, Marcus corrected. There's a difference. Did you kill her? Lena asked suddenly. The question hung there raw and unfiltered. Marcus didn't flinch. No, he said. But I did try to stop her. Lena swallowed. And you failed. Yes, Marcus admitted. Which is why we're here. Another car passed on the street, headlights sweeping briefly across Marcus's face. For a split second, Lena saw something underneath the composure. Urgency. You don't have much time, Marcus said. Neither of you do. Daniel tightened the chain. Then you should leave. Marcus stepped back. I'll be in touch, he said. When you're ready to be practical. He turned and walked down the steps, disappearing into the dark. Daniel closed the door and locked it. Lena exhaled shakily. You've been holding back. Yes, Daniel said. How much? She asked. Daniel looked at the backpack. At the notebooks. Enough, he said, that if the wrong name comes out, it won't just ruin a career. Lena's voice was barely audible. It'll destroy a legacy. Daniel met her eyes. And that, he said, is why your mother was so careful. Outside a phone buzzed. Somewhere nearby. And for the first time, Lena wondered if the most dangerous person in this story wasn't Marcus at all. Lena didn't sleep that night. She lay on Daniel's couch staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet house breathe around her. Every sound felt loaded. The hum of the refrigerator. A pipe knocking once behind the wall. A car passing outside, tires hissing against damp pavement. Her mother's notebooks sat on the coffee table, stacked neatly as if they were waiting to be judged. Sometime after 3, Lena got up and opened the first one. The handwriting was familiar in a way that hurt. Tight loops when her mother was anxious. Sharp angles when she was angry. Dates lined up with pay stubs Lena remembered seeing on the kitchen counter years ago. Late nights. Double shifts. Always tired. She flipped pages slowly. Account numbers. Partial names. Meetings overheard. Times, places, fragments of conversations written just clearly enough to make sense later. And then the margin notes. Ask again. Doesn't add up. Why here? Lena swallowed. Her mother hadn't been reckless. She'd been methodical. Patient. Daniel appeared quietly in the doorway, already dressed, a mug of coffee in his hand. You're up, he said. I don't think I can sleep anymore, Lena replied. He nodded and sat across from her. I figured. She tapped the notebook. You said she was careful because of a name. Yes. And Marcus hinted it was someone people trust, Lena said. Someone public. Daniel watched her closely. You're ready for that? I don't think ready matters, Lena said. I need to understand why my mother died still holding this. Daniel took a breath. The trust was linked to a philanthropic foundation. On paper it was clean. Well audited. Transparent enough to pass casual scrutiny. But not deep scrutiny, Lena said. Exactly, he replied. Your mother noticed small discrepancies. Rounding errors. Transfers delayed just long enough to reroute interest. Lena flipped another page. She wrote about moral laundering. Daniel nodded grimly. Using good deeds to disguise bad money. Who ran it? Lena asked again. Daniel hesitated. Then said, a retired judge. The words landed heavier than Lena expected. A judge, she repeated. Yes, Daniel said. Someone who'd built their reputation on ethics. Oversaw sentencing reform. Gave speeches about accountability. Lena felt dizzy. People like that don't just steal. They don't think of it as stealing, Daniel said. They think of it as redirecting. For themselves? For influence, he replied. Power doesn't always want cash. Sometimes it wants silence. Sometimes loyalty. Lena closed the notebook. My mother was going to expose him. No, Daniel said gently. She was going to ask him to explain. That's worse, Lena said. Daniel didn't disagree. Morning crept in slowly. Pale light filled the living room, revealing dust on the shelves and the faint crack in the ceiling Daniel had probably meant to fix for years. They'll expect us to move next, Daniel said. Marcus won't wait. Neither will I, Lena replied. She stood and pulled the backpack closer. There has to be someone else. A journalist. A regulator. There is, Daniel said. But timing matters. Lena looked at him sharply. You're still controlling this. Daniel didn't deny it. I'm trying to keep you alive. And what about my mother? Lena asked. Who kept her alive? That landed. Daniel set his mug down. I failed her. Silence stretched. Finally Lena said, there's something else. She flipped to the back of the last notebook and slid it toward him. A page had been torn out. Daniel frowned. That wasn't here before. My mother kept copies, Lena said. She always did. Where? He asked. In a place she thought was safe, Lena replied. Daniel's eyes lifted slowly. Where, Lena? Lena hesitated. Her church. Daniel stiffened. That foundation. I know, Lena said. That's why she chose it. Understanding dawned on his face. She hid evidence inside the institution tied to him. Yes, Lena said. She believed faith spaces weren't searched. Daniel leaned back, exhaling. That's risky. She didn't have many safe options, Lena replied. Daniel rubbed his temples. If Marcus figures that out. He already suspects, Lena said. That's why he's pressuring us. A phone buzzed on the table between them. A known number. They stared at it. Daniel answered without putting it to his ear. Speak. Marcus's voice filled the room, calm as ever. Good morning. I hope you both rested. Lena's jaw clenched. I thought we agreed on space, Daniel said. I said time, Marcus replied. Space is negotiable. What do you want? Lena asked. To prevent a mistake, Marcus said. You're thinking of retrieving something. Lena's pulse spiked. You shouldn't, Marcus continued. Too many eyes. Then why hasn't it been found? She asked. Pause. Not long. But real. Because, Marcus said, some places are protected by tradition. Lena met Daniel's gaze. So you know, she said. I suspect, Marcus corrected. And suspicion creates urgency. Daniel leaned forward. You threatened reputations before. Who are you protecting? Marcus sighed. Someone who believes the good outweighs the bad. And you? Lena asked. What do you believe? Marcus was quiet for a moment. I believe systems matter more than individuals, he said. And I believe your mother underestimated how far people go to preserve them. Lena's voice hardened. She didn't underestimate anything. She prepared. Marcus's tone cooled. Then prepare for consequences. The call ended. Daniel looked at Lena. We can't go there yet. Yes, we can, she said. Before they do. Daniel stood. If we step into that building, everything changes. Lena slung the backpack over her shoulder. It already has. Outside, church bells rang faintly in the distance, marking the hour. And for the first time, Lena understood why her mother had kept going, even when fear made every step heavy. Some truths don't wait to be convenient. The church sat on the corner of a quiet street, brick darkened by decades of rain and incense. It looked harmless in the morning light. Doors open. A handwritten sign near the steps announced a food drive. Someone had left a box of donated coats just inside the vestibule. This is a bad idea, Daniel said as they parked across the street. Lena didn't answer. She was watching people come and go. A woman pushing a stroller. An older man with a cane. Two teenagers laughing too loudly for the hour. Normal life. That was the point. They won't make a move here, Lena said finally. Not in daylight. Not with witnesses. Daniel glanced at her. You're starting to sound like your mother. She gave a thin smile. She raised me. They crossed the street and climbed the steps. Inside, the air was cool and faintly sweet with candle wax. The sanctuary was empty except for a custodian vacuuming near the front pews. The sound echoed low and steady. A woman behind a small desk looked up. Good morning. Morning, Daniel said easily. We're looking for the records office. The woman nodded. Basement level. Elevators down, so you'll need the stairs. Lena felt Daniel tense beside her. Thank you, Lena said quickly, already turning away. The stairwell smelled like dust and old paper. Each step creaked. The noise felt too loud, too exposed. Your mother volunteered here, Daniel said quietly as they descended. She taught the kids' reading group. I know, Lena replied. She said it helped her sleep. At the bottom, a narrow hallway stretched out, lined with storage rooms and filing cabinets. A single fluorescent light flickered overhead. Lena stopped in front of a plain metal door. No sign. No label. This is it, she said. How do you know? Daniel asked. She wrote about a quiet room, Lena said. Near the furnace. Always warm. Daniel reached for the handle. Locked. Lena pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket and handed it to him. She left me this years ago. Said not to open it unless something happened to her. Daniel unfolded it. A 4-digit code. He keyed it into the small padlock. It clicked open. Inside the room was cramped. Shelves stacked with old boxes. Holiday decorations. Broken chairs. A faint hum from nearby machinery warmed the air. Lena moved quickly, scanning. Then she knelt near the back wall and reached behind a stack of hymnals. Her fingers closed around a sealed envelope taped to the brick. She exhaled shakily. Found it. Daniel took it carefully. The envelope was thick. Heavy. Inside were photocopies. Bank transfers. Emails. A notarized statement written in her mother's handwriting, dated 2 weeks before she died. Daniel's face drained of color as he read. This isn't just proof, he said quietly. This is intent. Lena leaned closer. What do you mean? She documented the judge authorizing reallocation personally, Daniel said. Not ignorance. Direction. Lena's knees went weak. She steadied herself against the shelf. She was going to confront him, Lena whispered. No, Daniel said. She was going to give him a chance to step down quietly. That would have destroyed him, Lena said. Yes, Daniel replied. But it would have protected the system. A sound echoed in the hallway. Footsteps. Both of them froze. The footsteps stopped just outside the door. A voice spoke, calm and familiar. I was hoping you'd find it yourselves. Daniel closed the envelope slowly. You followed us. Marcus Hale opened the door and stepped inside, hands visible again. Alone. But his presence filled the room. I followed the pattern, Marcus said. Your mother trusted routine. So do you. Lena's anger flared. You let her die. Marcus's expression hardened. She died of a heart condition. After months of pressure, Lena snapped. Marcus didn't argue. You can't take that, Daniel said, nodding at the envelope. Marcus smiled thinly. I don't need to. He glanced toward the hallway. They already know you're here. Who? Lena asked. The board, Marcus replied. The foundation's legal counsel. A few donors who don't like surprises. Daniel's grip tightened on the envelope. You said you wanted to prevent exposure. I want to manage it, Marcus said. Exposure without control creates chaos. And chaos scares you, Lena said. It should scare everyone, Marcus replied. He stepped closer. Here's the reality. If this goes public, the judge resigns. The foundation collapses. Programs shut down. Hundreds lose funding. And if it stays hidden? Lena asked. Then a quiet transition, Marcus said. New leadership. Minimal fallout. Daniel laughed bitterly. You're asking us to protect the lie. I'm asking you to choose the least damaging truth, Marcus said. Lena looked at the envelope. At her mother's handwriting. My mother didn't believe in that, Lena said. Marcus met her gaze. Your mother believed in responsibility. So do I, Lena said. To her. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. Growing closer. Marcus glanced toward the ceiling. Decisions have consequences. So do delays, Lena replied. Daniel slipped the envelope into Lena's backpack. Marcus's eyes flicked to it. That's unwise. Lena squared her shoulders. We're leaving. Marcus didn't block the door. You won't get far. As they stepped into the hallway, the custodian's vacuum fell silent upstairs. Footsteps sounded again. Multiple this time. Daniel leaned in, voice low. If they stop us. I know, Lena said. Run. They turned the corner toward the stairs. And at the top of them, a uniformed officer appeared, hand resting casually on his belt, eyes already on Lena's backpack. Morning, the officer said. We got a call about a disturbance. Marcus's voice echoed from behind them. Yes, that would be them. Lena's heart dropped. And in that moment, she realized the truth her mother had learned too late. Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't protect you. It only reveals who's been waiting for you to try. The officer didn't rush them. That was the worst part. He stood at the top of the stairs, blocking the exit with an easy posture that suggested patience, not urgency. His gaze moved from Daniel to Lena, then lingered on the backpack strap cutting into her shoulder. Morning, he repeated, polite enough to be unsettling. We received a call about unauthorized access to a restricted area. Daniel kept his voice steady. This is a public building. Most of it, the officer said. Basement storage rooms are different. Marcus stepped into view behind them, hands clasped loosely in front of him, like a mediator at a community meeting. Officer, Marcus said, I appreciate you coming so quickly. The officer nodded without looking at him. Can I see some identification? Daniel reached slowly for his wallet and handed it over. Lena did the same, her fingers stiff. The officer studied the cards, then handed them back. And what were you doing down here? Lena opened her mouth, but Daniel spoke first. We were retrieving personal documents left here with permission. Permission from whom? The officer asked. Daniel hesitated. Just long enough. The officer's eyes sharpened. Ma'am? Lena felt every heartbeat in her ears. She thought of her mother teaching kids to read in this building. Thought of how safe it had felt then. My mother volunteered here, Lena said. She stored some of her papers with the church. I came to collect them. The officer considered that. Do you have proof of that arrangement? No, Lena said. She's deceased. Marcus sighed softly behind them. This is exactly the sort of misunderstanding I was hoping to avoid. The officer glanced back at him. And you are? Marcus Hale, he said smoothly. Legal counsel for the foundation that funds several of this church's programs. That landed. The officer's posture shifted almost imperceptibly. You're saying these documents may be confidential, Marcus finished, and their removal could violate privacy agreements. Daniel bristled. That's nonsense. Marcus didn't look at him. There are donor records involved. The officer's jaw tightened. Ma'am, what's in the bag? Lena's grip on the strap tightened. My mother's writing. Can you open it, please? Time stretched. Daniel leaned slightly toward Lena. You don't have to consent, he murmured. The officer heard him. Sir, don't interfere. Marcus stepped forward. Officer, perhaps we can resolve this without escalation. I'd hate for this young woman to be frightened unnecessarily. Lena snapped. You already frightened her. For months. Marcus finally looked at her. I warned her. Enough, the officer said. Ma'am, open the bag. Lena's chest burned. If she refused, they'd detain her. She complied. A voice echoed from the stairwell above. Is there a problem down here? A woman in a clerical collar descended the steps, expression calm but curious. Gray hair pulled back neatly. Clear, assessing eyes. The officer turned. We received a call. Yes, the woman said. From me. Marcus stiffened. I asked for an officer, the woman continued, because I was informed someone might attempt to remove documents belonging to this church. Lena's stomach dropped. The woman looked at Lena, then really looked at her. And I wanted to be present when that happened. Daniel frowned. You're saying these papers belong to the church? The woman nodded. Some of them. Others were entrusted to us. By my mother, Lena said. For safekeeping. The woman's gaze softened. Yes. She was very clear about that. Marcus's jaw tightened. Then you know the sensitivity of what she left. I know the weight of it, the woman replied. She turned to the officer. These individuals are here at my request. The officer hesitated. You're saying there's no trespass? That's correct, the woman said. And no disturbance. Only disagreement. The officer looked between them, then exhaled. All right. If there's no complaint. Marcus cut in. There is a complaint. The woman faced him fully now. From whom? From parties whose privacy could be violated, Marcus said. Including donors whose generosity supports this community. And whose generosity, the woman said evenly, does not grant them ownership of truth. Silence fell. The officer cleared his throat. If this is a civil matter, I'm going to step away. He glanced once more at Lena's backpack. But I'd advise caution. He turned and left, footsteps echoing up the stairs. Lena's knees nearly buckled with relief. Marcus stared at the woman. You're making a mistake. Perhaps, the woman said. But it won't be a quiet one. Lena looked between them. You knew my mother. Yes, the woman said. She trusted us because we don't move quickly. Or loudly. Marcus scoffed. That patience costs lives. It also saves souls, the woman replied. Marcus stepped closer to Lena. You don't understand what you're holding. I understand enough, Lena said. It proves intent. Marcus's voice dropped. And it implicates people who will not accept exposure. The woman placed a hand lightly on Lena's shoulder. Then they should have behaved better. Marcus studied her, something like respect flickering in his eyes. "This won't end well," he said. "No," the woman agreed. "It rarely does." Marcus turned and walked away, his footsteps unhurried, confident. Lena exhaled, the tension draining from her limbs. "Thank you," she said to the woman. The woman nodded once. "Your mother asked me to promise something." Lena's throat tightened. "What?" "That if you ever came for those papers," the woman said, "I was to remind you of one thing." Lena leaned in. "She said," the woman continued, "if Lena hesitates, tell her this isn't about punishment. It's about refusing to help them pretend." Lena swallowed hard. Outside, the bells began to ring again, louder this time. And as they stepped back into the daylight, Lena realized the story was no longer just about what her mother had uncovered. It was about who would carry it forward, and who would try desperately to stop them. They didn't go back to Daniel's place. "That location's burned," he said as they drove away from the church. "Too predictable now." Lena watched the brick building disappear in the side mirror. The bells had stopped ringing, leaving an uncomfortable quiet behind. "Where then?" she asked. Daniel hesitated. "Somewhere boring." "Boring sounds good," she said. They ended up in a mid-range hotel near the airport. Beige walls, low ceilings, the kind of place where no one looked twice at anyone else. Daniel paid cash. Asked for a room facing the parking lot, not the lobby. Inside, Lena locked the door, then locked it again. She leaned her forehead against the wood and let out a breath she felt like she'd been holding for years. "They used the police," she said. "That was fast." "Yes," Daniel replied. "And restrained. Which means they're still trying to avoid spectacle." "That won't last," Lena said. "No," he agreed. "It won't." She set the backpack on the bed and unzipped it carefully. The envelope lay on top, edges slightly bent now, as if it had absorbed the weight of the morning. Daniel pulled the curtains closed before sitting across from her. "You need to understand what comes next," he said. "Once we move forward, there's no partial retreat." "I know," Lena replied. "I'm not trying to punish anyone. I just won't help them hide." Daniel studied her. "Your mother said almost the same thing." Lena's mouth tightened. "Did she ever doubt it?" "All the time," he said. "She worried about collateral damage. About people losing jobs. About programs collapsing." "But she didn't stop," Lena said. "No," Daniel replied. "She asked better questions." Lena opened the envelope again, spreading the contents across the bed. Emails printed and highlighted. Transfer records. The notarized statement. "At least 3 separate approvals," she said, scanning. "He signed off on all of them." "Yes," Daniel said. "And did so in ways that avoided automatic oversight." "Because he helped design the oversight," Lena said quietly. Daniel nodded. "That's the second layer." Lena looked up. "Second." Daniel exhaled slowly. "The first twist is corruption disguised as charity. The second is protection disguised as law." She sat back. "He wasn't just stealing." "No," Daniel said. "He was shaping outcomes. Funding allies. Starving critics." Lena rubbed her arms, suddenly cold. "This is bigger than I thought." "It always is," Daniel said. "Which is why we can't just leak this online." "I wasn't planning to," Lena replied. "That would get buried." "Or discredited," Daniel added. "Or you." She met his gaze. "So what's the plan?" Daniel leaned forward. "We give it to someone who can't be quietly pressured." "A journalist?" Lena asked. "Not just any," Daniel said. "An investigative team with legal backing. Editors. Insurance." Lena nodded. "Who?" Daniel hesitated. "There's a reporter I trust. She doesn't chase headlines. She builds cases." "Then call her," Lena said. Daniel didn't move. "Daniel," Lena pressed. "What aren't you saying?" He looked tired suddenly. Older than he had that morning. She already knows part of this, he said. Your mother contacted her before she died. Lena froze. And then she went silent, Daniel said. Stopped responding. Not publicly. Just withdrew. Lena's stomach sank. Why? We don't know, Daniel replied. Could be coincidence. Could be pressure. Or fear, Lena said. Yes, Daniel agreed. Lena stared at the papers. If she's already compromised. She may not be, Daniel interrupted. But we need to verify before handing anything over. How? Lena asked. Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. We meet her. In person. No advance warning. Lena's pulse quickened. That's risky. So is staying still, Daniel said. A knock sounded at the door. Both of them froze. Another knock. Firmer. Housekeeping, a voice called. Daniel glanced at his watch. Too early. Lena's heart pounded. She grabbed the envelope and shoved it back into the backpack. Daniel moved silently to the door and checked the peephole. His expression tightened. Not housekeeping, he whispered. Who is it? Lena mouthed. Daniel didn't answer. He stepped back slowly, raising a hand to signal silence. The knock came again, harder now. Front desk, the voice said. There's an issue with your payment. Daniel shook his head. I paid cash. No issue. Silence followed. Then a different voice, lower, calmer. Familiar. Lena, Marcus said through the door. We're past misunderstandings now. Lena's blood ran cold. Daniel whispered. He shouldn't know we're here. Marcus continued, voice even. You have something that doesn't belong to you. And you're about to give it to someone who won't protect you. Lena stepped closer to the door. You mean someone you can't control? Yes, Marcus said. Which puts you in danger. Daniel mouthed, don't respond. Lena ignored him. You used the police. You used the church. What's next? Pause. Next, Marcus said, is me making good on what I warned you about. Daniel reached for his phone, fingers flying. Marcus spoke again, softer now. Open the door, Lena. Let's end this before it costs more than you're prepared to pay. Lena looked at Daniel. At the backpack. At the bed scattered with truth. Her voice shook, but it didn't break. Go away. Another pause. Then footsteps retreated down the hallway. Daniel exhaled. That wasn't a bluff. No, Lena said quietly. It was a countdown. Outside, somewhere in the hotel, a door slammed. And Lena knew that whoever they met next would decide whether this story ever saw daylight, or disappeared with her mother's notebooks forever. They left the hotel through a service exit. Daniel insisted. If he knows the room, he knows the cameras. The hallway smelled like industrial cleaner and stale air. Lena kept her head down as they passed a cart stacked with folded towels. No one looked at them. That anonymity felt fragile, temporary. Outside, a shuttle bus idled, waiting to ferry passengers to the terminal. Lena and Daniel blended into the small group climbing aboard. The doors hissed shut. The bus pulled away. Only when the hotel disappeared from view did Lena realize her hands were shaking. He found us in less than an hour, she said. Yes, Daniel replied. Which means someone tipped him. The front desk? Lena asked. Or the payment system, Daniel said. Or the church, he added grimly. Assume everything leaks. The shuttle dropped them at the terminal. Inside, the airport hummed with movement and noise. Rolling suitcases, boarding announcements, coffee machines hissing and grinding. Daniel slowed his pace deliberately. Crowds are protection, he murmured. They sat at a cafe near the windows, backs to the glass, faces toward the room. Planes taxied past like silent threats. You said the reporter might already be compromised, Lena said. What if she is? Then we pivot, Daniel replied. But we still need to see her. Why? Lena asked. Why not go straight to regulators? Because regulators move slowly, Daniel said. And leaks get buried without narrative. Lena frowned. You sound like him. Daniel met her eyes. I sound like someone who's watched evidence die in filing cabinets. A notification buzzed on his phone. He glanced at it, then showed it to Lena. A message. No name. Just a location and a time. She's asking to meet, Daniel said. No details. Lena's pulse jumped. That's her? Yes. Isn't that too easy? Lena asked. Nothing about this is easy, Daniel replied. But if she were fully compromised, she wouldn't meet at all. Where? Lena asked. Daniel read it again. Public library. Downtown. 2 hours from now. Lena exhaled slowly. Libraries are quiet. And full of witnesses, Daniel said. And cameras. They took a commuter train into the city, sitting apart but within sight of each other. Lena watched reflections in the glass more than the scenery outside. Every man in a coat looked suspicious. Every woman on her phone looked like she might be texting Marcus. At the library they entered separately. The building was old and imposing, stone steps worn smooth by decades of feet. Inside, the air smelled of paper and polish. The quiet pressed in, thick but not empty. Daniel texted once. Then waited. Minutes passed. Lena pretended to browse a shelf she wasn't reading, eyes flicking to the entrance every few seconds. Then she saw her. The reporter moved with purpose but not urgency. Mid-40s. Hair pulled back loosely. A messenger bag worn soft with use. She didn't scan the room like someone afraid. She scanned it like someone alert. Her eyes met Lena's briefly. Held. Then slid away. She sat at a long table near the windows and opened a notebook. Daniel joined her first. Thanks for coming, he said quietly. The reporter didn't look up. I didn't come for you. Lena approached and sat across from her. My name is Lena, she said. I know, the reporter replied. Your mother talked about you. Lena's throat tightened. Then you knew she was in danger. Yes, the reporter said simply. Did you do anything? Lena asked. The reporter finally looked at her. Her eyes were tired, not guilty. I started digging, she said. And then my editor pulled me. Why? Daniel asked. Because the foundation funds our legal defense pool, the reporter said. Indirectly. Enough to raise concerns. So you backed off, Lena said. I paused, the reporter corrected. There's a difference. Lena leaned forward. My mother died waiting. The reporter's jaw tightened. And I live with that. Silence stretched between them, heavy with accusation and regret. Daniel slid the envelope halfway out of Lena's bag, just enough to show the thickness. The reporter's eyes flicked to it, then back to Lena. You shouldn't be carrying that around, she said. We don't have a choice, Lena replied. Marcus is already threatening us. The reporter's expression hardened. Marcus Hale? Yes, Daniel said. You know him. I've met him, the reporter said. Once. He offered me access in exchange for patience. And? Lena asked. And I said no, she replied. Which is why I'm here now. Lena searched her face. Then why the silence? Because I needed insulation, the reporter said. Independent counsel. Editors willing to publish even if donors scream. Daniel studied her. Do you have that now? The reporter nodded. As of last week. Lena's breath caught. Then you'll take this? I'll review it, the reporter said. Carefully. Lena pushed the bag toward her. It proves intent. Direct authorization. The reporter didn't touch it yet. Before I take anything, she said, you need to understand what happens next. Tell us, Daniel said. If this holds, the reporter said, it won't be a quiet scandal. It will implicate judicial oversight bodies, nonprofit regulators, and anyone who looked away. Lena nodded. Good. No, the reporter said. Dangerous. Lena held her gaze. Truth doesn't stop being true because it's dangerous. The reporter studied her for a long moment. Then she reached out and took the bag. All right, she said. We move fast. And we don't meet like this again. Daniel exhaled. Thank you. The reporter stood. One more thing. Lena looked up. What? Marcus won't try to stop publication, she said. He'll try to discredit you. Lena stiffened. How? He'll question your mother's credibility, the reporter said. Her health, her finances, her motives. Lena's jaw clenched. Let him. The reporter shouldered the bag. Be ready. She walked away without looking back. Lena watched her disappear between the shelves. For the first time since her mother died, something like momentum stirred. But as they left the library, Daniel's phone buzzed again. A single message appeared on the screen. She won't save you. Lena felt a chill crawl up her spine. Because whoever sent it already knew they'd made the handoff. And that meant Marcus wasn't guessing anymore. He was watching. The city felt different after the handoff. Not safer. Just sharper. Every reflection in a window looked like it might be someone else's eyes. Every passing siren sounded closer than it should. Lena walked beside Daniel in silence, their footsteps echoing against the concrete of the downtown plaza. Someone saw us, Lena said quietly. Yes, Daniel replied. Or they were already tracking the reporter. That's worse. He didn't argue. They ducked into a subway entrance, blending into the evening crowd. The smell of metal and warm air hit them as they descended. Where now? Lena asked. Somewhere we can disappear for a few hours, Daniel said. No fixed address. No digital trail. That narrows it down, Lena muttered. They took a train 3 stops, then another back. Ate cheap sandwiches from a street vendor. Sat on a park bench watching joggers loop past like nothing in the world was unraveling. Daniel finally spoke. If Marcus goes after you personally, it won't be with violence. Lena frowned. He threatened me. He threatened your future, Daniel said. That's his specialty. What does that mean? Lena asked. He'll try to make you look unreliable, Daniel replied. Mentally unstable. Financially desperate. Anything that makes what you say easier to dismiss. Lena thought of her mother. Of the quiet woman who cleaned offices at night and never raised her voice. They'll do that to her too, Lena said. Yes, Daniel said. They already are. A news alert pinged on Daniel's phone. He stared at it, then slowly turned the screen toward Lena. A local blog had posted a short item. No names yet. Just a hint. Anonymous tip alleges misconduct tied to prominent charity. Under it, a blurry photo of the foundation's building. They're moving, Lena whispered. Yes, Daniel said. And they'll push their version first. Can we respond? Lena asked. Not yet, he replied. The reporter needs time. Lena folded her arms, feeling suddenly very small. So we just wait while they rewrite my mother? Daniel's jaw tightened. No. We prepare. For what? For the counterattack, he said. A man sat down on the bench across from them, close enough to be uncomfortable. He pretended to scroll his phone, but his eyes flicked up once, too deliberate. Daniel leaned toward Lena. Don't look. Stand up slowly. They rose and began to walk. The man stood too. They turned a corner. So did he. Lena's pulse spiked. We're being followed. Yes, Daniel said. But not for harm. How do you know? Because if they wanted you gone, you'd already be gone, Daniel replied. This is surveillance. They slipped into a crowded crosswalk and disappeared into a group of commuters. A few minutes later, Daniel stopped abruptly inside a bookstore and pulled Lena down an aisle. The man wasn't behind them. Marcus doesn't waste resources, Daniel said. If he's watching, it's because he's about to make a move. Lena swallowed. What kind? Daniel looked at her. The kind that makes you question yourself. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She didn't answer. A text appeared instead. We can still fix this. Your mother didn't want war. Lena stared at the screen. He's trying to get in my head. Yes, Daniel said. That's the point. Another message followed. She wasn't as innocent as you think. Lena felt something inside her crack. Don't, she whispered, more to herself than to him. A third message. She took money too. Lena's hand shook. He's lying. Probably, Daniel said. But it only has to sound plausible. Lena looked up at him. Did she? Daniel hesitated. That was all it took. You don't know, Lena said. No, Daniel admitted. I don't know everything. The uncertainty hit harder than any threat. What if there's something I didn't see? Lena asked. Then we face it, Daniel said. Not Marcus. Lena stared at her phone as another message arrived. Ask Daniel about the consulting fee. Her heart dropped. She turned the screen toward him. What does that mean? Daniel's face went pale. He told you that? Answer me, Lena said. Daniel took a breath. Your mother paid me. For legal advice. That's not a crime, Lena said. No, he replied. But Marcus will make it sound like collusion. Was it? Lena demanded. No, Daniel said quickly. She was a client. That's all. But you didn't tell me, Lena said. I didn't think it mattered, he said. Everything matters now, Lena snapped. Silence stretched between them. Another text arrived. He won't tell you about the other payment. Lena's voice trembled. What other payment? Daniel looked away. That wasn't from your mother, he said quietly. It was from the foundation. Years earlier. Unrelated. Unrelated. Lena echoed. You sued them. Yes, Daniel said. And later I consulted for a subsidiary. You worked for them, Lena said. Briefly, he replied. Before your mother came to me. Lena stepped back. You never said that. I didn't think it was relevant, he said again. It's everything, Lena said. Her phone buzzed again. He's not clean. Neither is she. Lena felt the ground shift beneath her. Marcus wasn't just attacking. He was dividing. And for the first time, Lena didn't know who she could trust. Lena walked away from Daniel. Not far. Just enough to breathe without his voice in her ear. They were still inside the bookstore, the soft rustle of pages and muted footsteps around them. Ordinary life pretending nothing was wrong. That contrast made everything hurt more. You should have told me, Lena said quietly, not turning back. I was trying to protect you, Daniel replied. No, she said. You were protecting your version of this. Daniel didn't argue. That felt worse than a defense. Lena stared at a shelf of used paperbacks. Crime novels. Stories about betrayals neatly wrapped up in a few hundred pages. She wished life were that clean. My mother trusted you, Lena said. Yes, Daniel said. And I didn't betray that. But you didn't tell me everything, she replied. Which means I don't know what else you left out. A notification chimed. Not a message this time. A news alert. Lena opened it. Prominent foundation denies wrongdoing, cites disgruntled former contractor. Her throat tightened. They're calling my mother a contractor, she said. She cleaned their offices. Daniel moved closer. This is the discrediting. And it's working, Lena said. Look at the comments. You didn't need to. You already knew. Her phone buzzed again. A new message. If you want the truth about your mother, meet me alone. Daniel stiffened. Don't? Where? Lena typed back before she could stop herself. A location appeared. A riverside cafe. Public. Busy. That's a trap, Daniel said. So is everything, Lena replied. But he's not offering me lies this time. He's offering answers. He's offering manipulation, Daniel snapped. Then I'll hear it, she said. Because right now, I don't know what to believe. Daniel grabbed her arm gently. Lena. This is how he isolates you. Lena pulled free. You were already hiding things. That doesn't make him honest, Daniel said. No, she agreed. But it makes you uncertain. That landed hard. I'll go, Lena said. I won't give him anything. I just want to hear. Daniel shook his head. If you go alone. I won't be alone, Lena said. I'll be in public. And you'll be nearby if you're worried. He looked at her torn. Please, she added. I need to know if there's something about my mother I don't see. After a long moment, Daniel nodded. I'll be across the street. The cafe overlooked the river, all glass and pale wood. Afternoon light reflected off the water in blinding flashes. People sat with laptops and lattes, oblivious. Marcus was already there. He stood when Lena approached, hands empty, expression unreadable. Thank you for coming, he said. Lena didn't sit. Say what you wanted to say. Marcus gestured to the chair. You'll want to. She did. He slid a single sheet of paper across the table. A bank statement. Lena's breath caught. That's my mother's name. Yes, Marcus said. A deposit. From the foundation. Lena stared at the number. It wasn't huge. But it wasn't nothing. She took money? Lena whispered. She was reimbursed, Marcus said. For her time. For consulting. She wasn't a consultant, Lena snapped. No, Marcus said. She was an informant. The words hit harder than a slap. She was paid to observe, Marcus continued. To report. To gather information for a quiet internal review. Lena shook her head. You're lying. Marcus met her gaze. She agreed because she thought it would lead to reform. And instead? Lena asked. And instead, Marcus said softly, it led to leverage. Lena's chest burned. You used her. Yes, he said. And she knew it. Silence pressed in around them. Why tell me this? Lena asked. Because you're romanticizing her, Marcus replied. She wasn't a martyr. She was a participant. That doesn't make what happened right, Lena said. No, Marcus agreed. But it complicates the story. Lena felt dizzy. Did she know about the judge? Yes, Marcus said. Before you ever did. Then why didn't she expose him? Because he promised change, Marcus replied. And because she was tired. Lena's eyes filled. She trusted the wrong people. So did you, Marcus said gently. Lena looked past him through the cafe window. Daniel stood across the street, pretending to check his phone, eyes locked on her. What do you want? Lena asked. Marcus folded his hands. For you to step back. Let this be handled quietly. And if I don't? She asked. Then everything about your mother becomes public, Marcus said. Including this. Lena swallowed. People will say she sold out. Yes, Marcus said. And they won't read far enough to understand why. Lena's voice shook. You're cruel. Marcus didn't deny it. I'm pragmatic. Lena stood. You don't get to define her. Marcus rose too. I already have. The question is whether you'll help me soften it. Lena backed away. No. Marcus sighed. Then you'll learn how loud lies can be. Lena turned and walked out, heart racing. Daniel reached her in seconds. What did he say? She showed him the bank statement. His face fell. He wasn't supposed to. You knew? Lena asked. I knew she'd been paid, Daniel admitted. But not like this. You let me believe she was untouched, Lena said. Pure. She was human, Daniel said. And trying to survive. Lena felt something inside her harden. They're going to destroy her memory, she said. And maybe she helped them without meaning to. Daniel nodded. That's the third truth. What's that? Lena asked. That corruption doesn't just steal, he said. It entangles. Lena looked back at the cafe. Marcus was gone. The river kept moving. And somewhere, a story was being rewritten faster than any of them could catch it. Lena didn't go home. Not Daniel's place. Not her own tiny apartment that suddenly felt too full of ghosts. She walked instead, letting the city pull her along block after block, until her feet ached and the sky softened into early evening. Every step replayed Marcus's words. Informant. Participant. The truth, whatever it was, felt like broken glass in her chest. She stopped in front of a small neighborhood library. One of those quiet brick buildings people forgot still existed. It was where her mother used to bring her on Saturdays, back when they had nothing but time and each other. Lena pushed the door open. The smell of old paper hit her like a memory. The faint lemon cleaner they used on the floors. She sat at a public computer and logged in with shaking hands. If Marcus was lying, the lie would have seams. If he was telling the truth, she needed to know exactly how much. She searched the Foundation's financial disclosures. They were public, buried under layers of legal language and PDFs no one ever read. After 20 minutes she found it. A line item. Consulting Services, L. Morales. Her mother's last name. The amount matched the bank statement. Lena closed her eyes. She hadn't imagined it. Marcus hadn't forged it. Someone had paid her mother and someone had made sure it was recorded. Why? Lena whispered to the empty room. Her phone buzzed. Daniel. She didn't answer. Another buzz. A text. I should have told you. I'm so sorry. She typed, erased, typed again. What else don't I know? There was a long pause. Then. Enough that if Marcus releases everything, the story will bury the real crime. Lena's heart sank. Meaning, she typed, that your mother's cooperation will be painted as the headline, not what she was trying to expose. Lena pushed away from the desk and stood pacing between shelves. So what do we do? She sent. We don't let Marcus frame it, Daniel replied. We tell the whole story first. Which story? Lena asked. Yours or hers? Another pause. Then. Hers. I can prove what she was really doing. Lena almost laughed. You've been hiding things this whole time. Yes, Daniel wrote. Because the truth isn't safe. Neither is silence, Lena typed. She left the library before she could change her mind and called him. He picked up on the first ring. I have files, Daniel said. Encrypted backups. Messages between your mother and an internal auditor. Records she copied. Why didn't you give them to me before? Lena asked. Because if Marcus knew they existed, he'd destroy them, Daniel replied. And possibly me. Do they show what she was actually trying to do? Lena asked. Yes, Daniel said. They show she was building a case. Then why was she still being paid? Lena pressed. Because she was pretending to cooperate while gathering proof, Daniel said. It was the only way to stay inside. Lena closed her eyes. So Marcus had told the truth, and twisted it. When can I see them? She asked. Tonight, Daniel said. But not at my place. Too obvious. Where? Lena asked. There's a storage unit, he replied. Rented under a shell name. She helped me set it up. The words stung. She planned all this without telling me, Lena said. She was trying to keep you out of it, Daniel replied. Just like I was. Lena almost said something cruel. Instead she said, send me the address. The storage facility sat on the edge of the city, wedged between a tire shop and a shuttered diner. One flickering street lamp buzzed overhead. Daniel was already there when Lena arrived. He looked tired. Not the theatrical kind of tired. The real kind where the weight lives in the shoulders. Thank you for coming, he said quietly. Lena didn't answer. They walked down a narrow hallway lined with metal doors. Each step echoed. Daniel stopped at Unit 417 and unlocked it. Inside was a folding table, a laptop, and 2 hard drives. This is everything, he said. Copies of what she collected. Lena leaned over the table. Emails. Financial records. Audio files. One message caught her eye. Her mother's voice. I know what they're doing, the recording said. And they think I'm on their side. I need more time. Lena's throat tightened. She was terrified, Daniel said softly. But she kept going. Lena pressed play on another file. A conversation between her mother and the judge's assistant. A quiet negotiation. A threat. A bribe refused. It was all there. This would have blown everything open, Lena whispered. Yes, Daniel said. That's why Marcus is trying to rewrite her as compromised. Lena looked at him. You should have trusted me. Daniel nodded. I know. For a moment the room felt almost safe. Then Daniel's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and froze. What? Lena asked. They found the storage unit, he said. How? She demanded. Daniel looked at her, fear flickering in his eyes. Because someone accessed the files remotely an hour ago. Lena's stomach dropped. I was in the library, she said. On a public computer. Daniel swallowed. Marcus didn't need you to tell him, he said. He just needed you to look. The metal door rattled first. Not loud. Just enough to make both of them stop breathing. Lena and Daniel stood in the center of the storage unit, the laptop screen glowing between them, her mother's last recorded words still paused on the waveform. Footsteps echoed outside. Slow. Deliberate. He knows we're here, Lena whispered. Daniel shut the laptop. Grabbed the smaller drive. What about the rest? She asked. There isn't time. The handle on the storage unit door turned. They slipped out the back through the narrow service corridor Daniel had mapped months ago, their footsteps barely louder than their heartbeats. The smell of oil and rust followed them as they emerged into the alley behind the facility. A black SUV idled at the front entrance. Two men stepped out. Go, Daniel said, pulling Lena toward the side street. They ran. Not in panic. In survival mode. Every sound felt amplified. A car door slamming. A voice calling out. The scrape of shoes behind them. They ducked into a bus depot and blended into a small crowd boarding late-night routes. Lena felt a hand brush her coat but didn't dare look back. They found empty seats in the far corner of the bus as it pulled away. Only then did Daniel breathe. That was too close, Lena said. Yes, he replied. Which means Marcus is finished waiting. The bus carried them across the city, past dark windows and half-lit diners. Lena stared at the hard drive in her lap like it might disappear if she blinked. This thing holds my mother's truth, she said. And Marcus's downfall, Daniel added. They got off near a hospital, where no one paid attention to two more tired faces in a sea of them. Daniel led her through a side entrance to a small cafe that stayed open all night for nurses and security guards. They sat in a corner booth. Now what? Lena asked. Now we give this to the reporter, Daniel said. And a federal investigator I trust. And if Marcus releases his version first? Lena asked. He already is, Daniel said, showing her his phone. A major news site had published a breaking headline. Foundation whistleblower accused of financial misconduct. Under it, her mother's name. Lena felt something inside her go very still. He's killing her reputation, she said. He's trying to, Daniel replied. But he's overreaching. How do you know? Lena asked. Because he's using partial truths, Daniel said. And partial truths collapse when the whole picture appears. Lena stared at the screen. People were already commenting, speculating, judging. She can't defend herself, Lena said. No, Daniel said. But you can. They uploaded the files from the cafe's secure line. Each progress bar felt like a heartbeat. When the last file finished, Daniel sent a single encrypted message. Now, he said. They waited. 10 minutes. 20. Then Daniel's phone buzzed. The reporter. They verified the financial trail, Daniel read. And the recordings. Federal agents are on their way to the Foundation headquarters. Lena's breath caught. Really? Yes, he said. Marcus can't spin this fast enough. Her phone buzzed next. An alert from the same news site. Breaking. New evidence reveals Foundation executives orchestrated systemic fraud. Lena's eyes filled. They kept scrolling. Documents show the late whistleblower had been secretly cooperating with investigators. Lena pressed her hand to her mouth. They know, she whispered. They know what she was really doing. Daniel nodded. And Marcus knows it too. As if summoned, Lena's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Enjoy your victory, Marcus said calmly. It won't bring her back. Lena's voice didn't shake. It brings the truth back. He laughed softly. Truth is a luxury. People remember stories. Then here's one, Lena said. My mother tried to stop you. And you killed her for it. There was a pause. Careful, Marcus said. You don't have proof of that. Not yet, Lena replied. But now everyone's looking. The line went dead. Daniel exhaled. He won't run. Men like him never do. What happens next? Lena asked. Investigations. Trials. Years of it, Daniel said. But his power is broken. Lena leaned back in the booth, exhaustion finally crashing over her. She would have hated all this noise, Lena said softly. Yes, Daniel replied. But she wanted the machine to stop. Outside, sirens wailed toward the financial district. Lena watched them go, a strange calm settling in her chest. My mom left a $1 tip, she said quietly. And a note that started all this. Daniel smiled faintly. Small things can open big doors. Lena looked out the cafe window, the city still moving, still imperfect, but a little less dark than it had been. If this story moved you and you want to hear more about people who refuse to stay silent, make sure you subscribe. There are many voices still waiting to be heard. And if you've ever watched from a place where truth feels fragile, feel free to leave a comment. You're not alone. The night kept turning, but for the first time in a long while, Lena felt like it was turning in the right direction.